You know, Alex, I walked into the shop this morning and the smell of cedar hit me so hard I almost forgot I have a mortgage. There's something about that first whiff of wood and cold iron that just resets the internal clock.
That's a very poetic way of saying you're hiding from your emails, Tiger. But I'll give it to you. It's May 25th. The sun is actually doing its job for once, and I'm ready to talk shop. What's on the bench for the Daily Digest?
We've got a buffet today. We're talking about high-speed lasers that make my old hacksaw look like a stone tool, some serious cash for the next generation of plumbers, and how to actually make a buck selling your crafts without losing your soul to an algorithm.
Well, before you start writing a sonnet about sandpaper, let's talk about these lasers. Because the HSG Laser GT series sounds like something out of a sci-fi flick.
It's incredible, really. Back when I started, if you wanted a complex gusset or a custom bracket out of plate steel, you were spending half a day with a torch and a grinder, looking like a coal miner by the time you finished. This HSG series, it's turning lead times into blink and you miss it moments. It's bringing that big factory speed down to a level where a high-end custom shop can actually play in the big leagues.
See, that's what fascinates me. It feels like the gap between guy in a garage and industrial manufacturer is shrinking because of tech like this. But what about the welding side? I saw something about octopus steps from ESAB. Please tell me it doesn't have 8 arms.
No cephalopods involved, I promise. It's software. And honestly, it's the digital equivalent of that voice in the back of your head that reminds you that you forgot to deburr the backside of a joint. It sequences the welds and validates them. You ever get halfway through a project, maybe a trailer frame or a big gate, and realize you welded yourself into a corner? Literally?
I've seen you do it. You get that look on your face, the I should have stayed in bed look.
Exactly. My face gets all pinched like I just bit a lemon. This software stops that. It's a check twice, weld once digital guardrail. It maps the sequence so you don't warp the metal into a pretzel by overheating one side. It's brilliant for the guys who want perfection on the first pass.
And for the aluminum crowd, Lincoln Electric put out the AlumaFab. Why is aluminum always the diva of metals? Every welder I know talks about it like it's a temperamental cat.
Because it is. You look at aluminum wrong and it gets contaminated. It's got a melting point that's, well, it's finicky. But the AlumaFab system is built for high volume. It's trying to take the dark art out of MIG welding aluminum and make it consistent. If you're building boats or truck bodies, this is basically the holy grail of feed consistency.
Moving from the machines to the humans, I love what's happening in the trades right now. We've got to talk about Gemma from Edinburgh, 22 years old, finishing her plumbing apprenticeship. That's the kind of energy we need.
It really is. I've spent 30 years on job sites, and for a long time, it felt like a very exclusive, very dusty club. Seeing people like Gemma just kick the door down and prove that a pipe wrench doesn't care about your gender, it's refreshing. She's not just doing a job, she's mastering a craft that society literally cannot function without.
And the PHCC Educational Foundation is putting their money where the pipes are. $18,000 across 75 scholarships for 2026? That's not pocket change.
It's a massive lift. If you're a kid out there thinking about college debt versus a trade, look at those numbers. You can get paid to learn, get your education funded, and by the time your friends are graduating with a degree in 14th century basket weaving and 50 grand in debt, you're buying a house and driving a truck you actually own. It's the smartest play on the board right now.
Speaking of smart plays, let's pivot to the maker moguls. Because everyone with a jigsaw thinks they can start an Etsy shop, but the market is changing. It's moving toward experience and texture. What does that even mean in shop talk?
It means people are tired of flat, gray, plastic lives. They want to touch something. That's why tufted rugs and custom resin jewelry are exploding. A tufted rug has this architectural warmth. It's not just a floor covering. It's a statement that says, a human spent 10 hours making this soft for my feet.
But the business side seems tougher. You mentioned that Instagram isn't just for pretty pictures anymore.
Man, the days of just posting a grainy photo of a birdhouse and waiting for the checks to roll in are buried in the backyard. You've got to use the shoppable tags. You've got to make the checkout a one-click thing. But the secret sauce? It's the reels. People don't just want the bowl. They want to see the shavings flying off the lathe. They want to see the mistake you made and how you fixed it. They're buying your struggle and your victory as much as the finished wood.
You're saying they want the Tiger disaster factor?
Listen, my unplanned design features are legendary. If I had a nickel for every time I turned a oops into a rustic accent, I'd be retired in Tahiti. But people lean into that honesty. It makes the piece feel real.
Okay, let's get into the DIY mastery stuff for the weekend. I saw Ultimate Game Night Table on the list. Tiger, that sounds like a massive undertaking. Are we talking about a 3-year project that ends in divorce?
No, no. It's basically just a glorified box with legs, if you strip it down to the bones. The magic is in the details. The recessed playing surface, the padded rails. It's basic framing, really. But the payoff? When you sit down with your buddies and the cards hit that felt, you feel like the king of your own castle. It becomes an heirloom because of the memories attached to it, not just because you use fancy joinery.
And for the people with smaller scrap piles, I'm looking at you and your hoarding of offcuts.
First of all, it's curated inventory, not hoarding. But the artistic spline frames are the perfect way to use those little bits of walnut or cherry you can't bear to throw away. You take a simple mitered frame and you cut a slot in the corner, then you drive in a contrasting piece of wood, a spline. It's like a little tuxedo for your pictures. It's a simple mechanical joint that looks like you've got a PhD in woodworking.
I like that. A tuxedo for your pictures. And finally, for the storage-starved floating shelves. You're saying there are 3 ways to do it?
At least, you've got your hidden metal brackets if you want that magic look where the wood just grows out of the wall. You've got the hollow box method where you slide a sleeve over a wooden cleat, which is great for those chunky rustic beams. And then there's the live edge approach. None of them take more than 4 hours, but they change the entire mood of a room. It's the highest visual ROI you can get for a Saturday afternoon.
So, whether you're aiming for a high-tech manufacturing career, a plumbing scholarship, or just trying to fix your living room, there's a path.
There's always a path. You just have to be willing to get a little dust on your boots to find it. The biggest mistake isn't a bad cut or a leaky pipe. It's never picking up the tool in the first place because you're afraid of the mess.
Spoken like a man who has made a lot of messes.
More than I can count, Alex. More than I can count. But that's how you learn where the edges are.
Well, that's the TigerDen Daily for May 25th. If you're ready to start one of these paths, check out the blueprints on the site.
Go build something worth keeping this week. And if you mess it up, good. That means you're actually doing it. We'll see you next time.